So this is T to the M to the IDD, and I'm back with the second episode of Tech Talk. Now, we are going to get right into this live conversation as we have a lot of things to talk about and not so much a lot of time. I want to try to keep this short, sweet, straight to the point. East Coast time is about 10 o'clock right now. What's going on, RBJ? And Hassan, what's going on? So, we have a T to the M to the IDD Tech Talk, and this is the second one. So, trying to keep it going strong. Last week, I believe we did it on Friday. This day is a Thursday. It is a little late, but I want to talk tech, and I also want to talk with you all. So, on my community tab, I put a post out for Tech Talk with T-Med. And so I got some responses, got some feedback, and some things that really stuck out to me that I felt would be good to talk about. So we are going to talk about that. And as always, if you all have a question, put it in the chat. I got my chat actively up right now so that I can respond. And remember, this is a discussion between me and you. So the floor is open for any questions. What's going on, TJ? Okay. So there's a few things that I wanted to touch on. The last Tech Talk I was supposed to talk about the Z9, right? Nikon's flagship camera, and if I would get it. And that is perfect because last time we were having so much of a good conversation about a lot of other tech that really didn't drive the point of what I was going to mention about the Z9 and if I was going to get it. But today's topic was brought to me by a subscriber that is starting a YouTube channel in 2021. And I felt like the things I had to say about the Nikon Z9 kind of ties back around into starting YouTube and some of the things that I have noticed with YouTube. And I have a few examples that I will go into. So let's see. So we have starting a YouTube in 2021. Some of the things that you might not necessarily think about when starting a YouTube in 2021. What's going on, Rose? And I wanted to touch on starting a YouTube in 2021 just because a lot of people asked me about different advice, I would say, that I would give to people starting one in 2021. And that's kind of what I want to touch on today. On top of, we got to put this out here, Nikon has firmware updates. So, you know, if you are part of the Nikon community, and you have that mirrorless cameras that they support, I would definitely update my camera first and foremost. Editing photos, just happened to check. Oh yeah, this is a editing night. It's definitely a late night, 9:57. So this will probably. I know everybody has to work tomorrow, so you know how that goes. Okay, so we'll have people chiming in, and some of these things are for the people that are starting their YouTube channels and wanting to know if it is worth it, because some of the things that I have gained, or some of the knowledge that I have gained, that I wish I would have knew when I first started. First of all, the mindset when I first started, or before I even started, I thought that I could pick up YouTube, create content, and boom, everything would just take off and I would never look back, right? I'm looking and I'm like, man, YouTube is easy. I know that as soon as I create content, I know it'll just skyrocket and then we'll be all good. And when I started YouTube, it definitely surprised me because it did not go how I envisioned it at all. And so that's some of the things that I want to talk about. Let's see. Today's my birthday, Veterans Day. Also took tomorrow off. Oh, RBJ, you have a long weekend. Happy birthday. How you doing, Agnetha? Okay, so what I was saying was, last time I didn't really get to talk about the Z9 and what it meant to me, but I thought I would loop it back around in today's Tech Talk with you all asking questions that you may have, and we will keep the show going. So I thought that the YouTube would take off, and I thought it would take off pretty easily. I thought that if I just made videos that people would like my content, people would subscribe, and I would have a pretty, I wouldn't say just easy, but a pretty steady growth pattern. So when it did not happen like that, it made me kind of question myself as to if I wanted to keep pursuing YouTube. So 2018 is when I got this grand idea of starting a YouTube channel. I said, okay, I'm traveling out the country and I travel a lot for my job. Like I said, I do a lot of artificial intelligence programming, things like that. So I was going to all of these NVIDIA conferences so that I can stay up on the technology that's behind a lot of this artificial intelligence applications, which is why I mentioned, this eye autofocus, and I know what's going on behind the scenes. And I was really surprised. So I took a step back and said, okay, you know what? Let me use travel videos. I'm traveling a lot. I only wanted to do international at first because I thought domestic, who wants to do domestic? Then I seen how far and few in between videos I would be able to make with international. So I said, okay, let me include domestic because that will kind of fill the gap. YouTube, I'm thinking you have to create content, you have to be consistent. So that was a way to kind of bridge the gap. Do you have some favorite cameras, each for different reasons? Yes, and I will get to that in 1 second. And so when I thought I bridged the gap, I seen that my travel videos, I would get some views, but I wouldn't get any subscribers. Now, that's not to disregard the fact that just because you have subscribers doesn't necessarily correlate to you getting views, because you can have a lot of subscribers, and if you make a video that's not in the lane with your audience, they will not watch it, it will not get pushed, and that goes all behind the YouTube algorithm. So I still wasn't invested in 2018, but then I thought about what else I could do, and so this is where the camera photography came in 2019. I got a little bit more serious, making about 40 something videos, and then 2020 I got even more serious and went from 40 videos to about 82 videos for that year. And this year I got even more serious. I mean, this year probably, I don't even know how many videos I got, but I know that at the start of 2021, I challenged myself to make 10 videos every month. 2020, I said 4 videos every month. So 2021, I said, okay, I did 4 every month. Now let's do 10 every month. And that's my goal. And I've been hitting that goal every time. But still, the correlation between the work that you put into your content and subscribers do not level out. I have videos that have thousands of views, right? And you can see the unique viewers. So I can see how many people viewed my stuff that is not a subscriber. And it really takes a deep connection with a person to really subscribe to you. And so that ties into starting a YouTube in 2021. Some of the things that I would recommend with starting a channel from scratch, because right now I'm just thinking about when I started from scratch, and man, those first 100 subscribers are like a breath of fresh air. Those are like the people that believe in you 1000%, because it's so hard to even get 100 subscribers. And if you are in that position right now, you know exactly what I mean. You push that content out and you are like, why can't I get anyone to subscribe? What is going on, right? That's what you're asking yourself. And so got some words of encouragement and some tips that I would definitely relay to you all. Okay, so some favorite cameras on the side note that I have. So like Nikon, I use as my main portrait. If I do events, weddings, I'm going with my Nikon. And then I have my Sony cameras that I use only for video. Also, when I vlog, I use my Sony. I also have a DJI Osmo Pocket, which is this right here, that I could do 4K 60 frames per second that I record on. But I don't like the quality more than my Sony with a Gorilla Pod, so I love using my Sony for video. And 9 times out of 10, all the videos on my channel are with a Sony a7S II. Hopefully soon it'll be an a7S III. Okay. And please let me know. Ask any questions as we go through with this. Okay, so do we have anyone in the chat that is starting a YouTube channel? in 2021. Also, in the chat, what is your go-to lighting setup? You like a 1 light setup, 2 light setup, 3 light setup? And if you do have a particular lighting setup that you use, what is your go-to light? Is it Godox 8300? Is it a Pro Photo? Is it Flashpoint? Still Godox, but do you have the Flashpoint brand? Is it newer? We got newer strobes. So let's talk about that. Okay, so with the tips that I would give with starting YouTube in 2021. Now, these tips may seem a little cliche and a little ambiguous, but I promise there is some depth and some validity to what I'm going to say, because of course everybody is still trying to figure out this algorithm, right? And it is not easy whatsoever. So as we continually try to look at the analytics on the back end on YouTube, you can look at analytics and determine patterns. And so you try to look at those analytics and determine patterns. Okay, this video title, this content, okay, maybe I should do more of this content because YouTube was pushing that a little bit more. And you try to use all of your things like search engine optimization, all these tools that you have to really help you hone in on this algorithm. So that's the one thing I will say. Use the tools that you have when you put videos out. So search engine optimization, or otherwise known as SEO. YouTube has analytics that are deeply embedded into their system. So you can see what people are searching. You can see the gender, the age group, your ethnicity, the countries that your content is going to, who is watching your stuff, and that means a lot if you know how to use that information, especially when you're first starting off. Another great starting point with YouTube is utilizing the social media platforms that are available to us. If you think about it, social media now, we just have so many social media platforms that are available to us. And this goes beyond Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, right? If you think about it, YouTube is a social media platform. It's a networking mechanism. So you have to use these networking mechanisms. If we go into, let's say, Facebook has they have so many groups in Facebook that you honestly can find a group for anything. And so you have to utilize those groups. For example, one group that I'm in on Facebook is called ISO 1200, where they do behind the scenes, and you can submit your stuff. It has almost about 500,000 people in this group. You can submit your stuff, but you have to have a behind the scenes photo, then you have to have the final image, and then you have to have all the details as far as lighting, settings on your camera, and things of that nature. But that's a great way to get your work in front of potentially 500,000 people, right? On the other end, you have to be able to take criticism, because that is a part of this. Now, what's going on, Ryan? So the other part, and Ryan definitely can chime in on this. I wish I was on StreamYard, because the input, this is giving advice to people starting YouTubes in 2021. So the second thing beyond the networking, make sure you use your social media. So like I was saying, beyond Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, like another social media that people might not think of immediately is Pinterest. As photographers, we go to Pinterest to look for poses, right? But you don't necessarily think, hey, let me post my final picture on Pinterest with some descriptive title that everybody may search, that is still pertinent to the image that I'm posting. Like maybe you did a model shoot with someone who wore Calvin Klein, which was very popular shoots, right? So you can go to Pinterest, put your final image, and put that in the title, because I'm sure people are searching on Pinterest Calvin Klein photo shoots, and boom, there go your image popping up. Now let me tell you, for me, that is exactly what happened for graduation photo shoots. I did a graduation photo shoot that's on my channel. I put it on Pinterest and I put graduation photo shoot ideas. And to this day, that is the most pinned or most saved post by people that are searching Pinterest. Every time I get on it, somebody is saving that video. So when I say use your social medias, you can think beyond Facebook and the ones that you really immediately know. Think beyond that. Now, when we talk about YouTube as being a social media, be social and be seen, you can use YouTube as a tool as well. You have access to all creators. So it takes nothing to start a conversation in their comment section, and after they see your name a few times, it kind of draws interest. Like, I know me personally, I see somebody comment on my stuff, I'm going to click their profile, because now I'm intrigued, right? I want to know a little bit more about who this person is. You know, let me see if they have some videos on YouTube, and let me check that out. So use your networking social media pages accordingly, and then just in general, you know, if you have people in the area, of course, you know, share your stuff like that. What I've noticed, what's going on, transparent, what I have noticed about sharing my work with family and friends that I like actually know, is that I really get more support from people who don't know me than people who do know me. So I kind of stopped sharing my work with people that I know, because they might not necessarily be interested in it. So I said, let me save myself the headache and telling them, hey man, go watch my video, because if they want to watch it, they'll watch it. So definitely the support comes bigger. And some of you, you know, that goes for other things in life as well. You know, people you don't know sometimes will be your best supporters. I promise you that 1000%. So the second thing that kind of stems off of that is, with YouTube, you have to, and this is where Ryan would have been perfect, you have to know yourself, stay true to yourself, and create things that you want to create. And also know that when you create these things, make sure that you're creating it for you, essentially, but to share, because you actually start to have a audience that loves those things. And so when you don't produce those things no more, your audience can you will see it dramatically in your views. First of all, your views will be like cut, because they're like, what is this person putting out? Like, I don't like this stuff. So you have to know you and what your goal is for the channel. You agree? You're losing subs at an alarming rate. Yeah, so you have to stay true to you. And that's one thing that I wanted to say about the Nikon Z9 that kind of ties into being true to you. One thing that I've kind of noticed with YouTube is it is very, very gear driven when you get into the photography space. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be gear driven, but sometimes to get that bump and get your stuff seen, you kind of want to put the gear in the title, and hopefully, you get a little bit more search recognition when you do that. Now, the thing about that is YouTube can also drive the gear that you buy, which can be bad, right? Take, for example, I bought the Nikon Z7 II. Was the Nikon D850 still working for me? Absolutely. Nikon Z7 II I bought was because partially I needed to transition to mirrorless. Another percentage was YouTube is kind of going to mirrorless. So it's kind of like a transition, right? Also, I got this camera for an amazing deal, so so it's kind of like I can't pass up too much on that. But YouTube will really drive you to buy some things if you want those views. So you have to be careful about that. One of the things was going on, the kid. One of the things that I bought, this right here. And I put this in my video when I made a video of this light. If you're just tuning in, I asked what's your favorite lighting setup, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then also what is your go-to light. So let me know in the comments below while we're talking, and I can kind of see what you all are using for your workflow. But this light right here, I bought because I needed some traction in my YouTube. And what happened? This light came out, but it was not in the States yet. So what did I say to myself? I only had to go out to 8200 at this point. So it wasn't like I was just buying stuff to buy it, because I did need a second light. So it just came perfectly in the nick of time. But I told myself, okay, I knew a company that was in Canada that had these first. So by the time they got these first and they got shipped to me, nobody still had this light. And I'm telling you, maybe the big YouTubers, but it was very few videos on this light. this is like a purchase that YouTube kind of drove for me because I said I need some traction. What can I do? Gear can drive traction sometimes, and a lot of you may not know. Some of you been here for the long haul, so this year I was under 1,000 subs. So this light right here was part of the reason. Well, I can't specifically say part of it. I know it definitely drove traffic. Let's just say that, because I was sub 1,000 subscribers, and so from being under 1,000 subscribers, this year roughly, to coming up on 4,000 subscribers. That says a lot about about gear and how it can drive you to buy things sometimes. All right, let's see what we have. I have 2 newer 4s. Okay. Making 2 work for now. Okay. Yes, a third light will always be lovely. I wouldn't worry. In time, right viewers will start seeing Agnetha. That is absolutely correct. It's just a transition period. Okay, got Einstein's in the studio, 600 Pro, 1300 Pro, transparent. Send those Einsteins down here to me, and let me see something real quick. I promise I'll send it back. you know my channel, so you could validate me for that. Yes, Hassan, it could be good and bad. Absolutely. And that's the thing. It could drive you it could drive you to a point where you're like, why did I even buy this? I don't need it. So that's like the Nikon Z9. It is an amazing camera on paper, specs. It's just phenomenal, right? Like, you all shoot Canon, you all shoot Fuji, Olympus, Panasonic, Sony, and I don't know if you all have any gripes with other competitors, or you might really have a problem why you don't like another brand. Me personally, I'm neutral. I don't really have any reason I don't like any other brand, but some people do. But I think we can all unanimously agree right now that the specs that Nikon came out with on this Z9 is just like no other. It's like you probably would not have imagined all of the capability that they put into this camera, right? And so with YouTube, it kind of is like, man, if you get this camera, those views are going to come, because everybody wants to see a hands-on video with that Z9 and you pushing it to its limits, which the 9 Z9, the 9 eye focusing or tracking objects that it has, the 30 FPS and JPEG, really good for sports and things like that. So if you're using it for those things, it's absolutely wonderful. You're using it, actually for client work, full-time photographers that need to catch those moments at those rates. Absolutely fine. Me, right now, doing portrait shoots and behind the scenes, at that price tag, I think it's about $5,500. It's not a bad price at all, don't get me wrong, but maybe if it went down a little bit, then T-Med might get one. Okay. Oh man, that's how you feel, bro? I think I bring some youth to the Nikon. I have Sony too, though. pros. Some say pro plan creative projects and amateurs worry about gear. Pros plan, yeah. Okay, let's start the discussion. Let's start that discussion in there, transparent. How do y'all feel about that? So so going on with YouTube in 2021 kind of driving gear, that kind of hinges on, does gear matter? You say amateurs worry about gear and pros plan creative projects. But it can really drive what you buy sometimes, and so you have to know yourself. Know yourself when you are creating this channel, right? The next thing that I feel like is important when you creating a channel on YouTube in 2021, engagement. I cannot say engagement right now because enough right now, because guess what? What am I doing right now? I am engaging with you all. It is one of the most important pieces of YouTube. I can't stress that enough. Okay, pre-order the Z9. Yeah, TJ, you're gonna have to send that up here in some bubble wrap, and I'll make sure it gets back. I like Nikon, the truest camera in the photography world. Other brands, you'll have to find the sweet spot. Tell yourself the truth is out there. YouTube clicks would disagree with you. The most clicked videos in photography are about gear. Okay? Just dropping through to give light. Just got in from the shoot. I appreciate that, James. Appreciate it. I know it's a late night. So engagement with YouTube. A lot of you all may even know me because maybe I commented on your video, gave your video a like, or maybe I commented on your picture on Instagram. Engagement is important, and the thing is that I really watch people's videos. Some people just comment and didn't even watch 5 seconds of the video, but I don't even watch TV. Like some of you all probably don't watch TV. I don't even watch TV. I just get on YouTube and I'm like, okay, who uploaded a video? I'm checking who uploaded something, and I really watch the videos and comment. So engagement, important. I feel like you engage with your audience, it brings a closer connection to the point where instead of them, they might watch your stuff frequently, just don't subscribe. I think that bridges that gap to the point where they're like, you know what? Let me subscribe. I've had plenty of people comment on my videos, and when they comment on my videos, they might not be subscribed, but it's something about people appreciate 10 times over when you respond to a comment that they took time to leave. Like when I first started, I remember I was getting no comments. So now that I get comments, I cherish the comments. And people love when you respond back. So again, that's engagement. And so when I've seen people not subscribe to me, I comment, maybe they comment, I'll respond to it, and then instantly they subscribe to my channel. I've seen that so many times. It's like I've known that that's a thing, and I don't comment just for somebody to subscribe. That's just how I do. I try to respond to everybody. The mic is echoing. Let's see. What's going on, Infinite? Okay. We're gonna try this. Let me know if it's still echoing. Yeah, I can still hear it. Okay. So we are going to keep going, and I'm just gonna have to go with my headphones. So let's see what other light setups do you all have? So the lighting, we are looking for strobes, and we are looking for lighting setups in terms of one light setups, two light setups. Okay. Let's see what do y'all have? Okay, okay. Keep them coming in. Keep them coming in. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate you all tuning in at this time. Okay. So, engagement. And you all let me know. Do you all respect a person more when they respond? Do you feel like a person should respond? Do you uh, feel more loyal to a YouTuber that does respond? And does that kind of fill a gap for you subscribing? What I want to know from you all is maybe why. What is your why with T to the M to the IDD? What made you subscribe to my channel? That is a golden question right there. If you could put that in the chat, I would absolutely love you for that. Okay. Okay. So, in driving engagement, you have to engage. Going back to social media, it's all about engagement. So if you're starting a YouTube, you have to engage. I can't stress that one enough. All right, so let's get some of these side questions in. T-Mid, you take great photos with your camera. Will you be getting a Z9 someday? So that is a great question. I would love to have a Z9, but I also would want to be able to get the most out of the Z9 just because it does so much, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say that I wouldn't get one. I probably wouldn't get one as soon. So, and I'm kind of a price shopper. So, even if I find something used, I would go with something used. Just like my Z7 II, which I'm actually recording this live on right now, would absolutely get one. Okay. Let's see another question. Isn't the Z9 more of a sports camera? So, you could deem it as a sports camera, fast action. You know, it's really for catching those moments. That technology that is built in, but you know it has the 8K. Oh man, and then the EVF and low light uh, autofocus capability. So it is some high tech, but just those frames per second, it's like wow. Now they upped it with 30 frames per second, but it's only in JPEG mode. And you know, cameras already had like 20 frames per second, so you know it has 20 frames per second with raw files. But it's interesting because you know if you got 20 frames per second and you can't get that shot that you need with those 20 frames per second, I don't know if it's you as the operator, but something is wrong. Okay. What group of people do you prefer to cater to mostly? The photographer, the models, manufacturers and products, editing artists, or just educating the public on how YouTube business works? That is a great question. So, you know, I don't think I have a specific group. I would say I am more so well rounded because, like, now I'm letting you all know how YouTube works. And if you have any behind the scenes questions that you want to know about my YouTube, I'll be happy to give you any details. You know, it doesn't matter to me. Um, and this is to help those of you who are thinking about starting a YouTube or have started one or are just curious about YouTube. And so I say that to say I'm more so educating everyone and anyone and looking at all perspectives. And I kind of bring that to the table because as a photographer, I'm bringing, you know, my knowledge and sharing it with you all. But then also, you've seen segments where I talk specifically to the model, and you all get to see the model's perspective. And you know, you have all those different aspects, and I try to stay as unbiased as possible with all things, which is kind of hard. Okay, so I subscribe to you because you shoot Nikon and have fire models and create great photos. Okay, that's solid. I subscribe to you because I like watching your work. Okay, transparent. I appreciate that. AJ, I love your energy and watching your work. Also, not being afraid to show your work. Yes, AJ, that's a good. That's a great point right there because you will not see some of the bigger YouTubers go live when they do their photo shoots, and it's because they want to give you these picture perfect videos that they had to edit and cut out all the mistakes. Whereas you had somebody like me where I'm going to go live and you can see me struggle with a light. you can see me. Oh, okay, hold on. Let me adjust this again. Let me move this light. Okay, and all at the same time, I'm doing it in a small space in a home studio to the point where some people don't even believe that I took it inside of my house. When I say, oh yeah, you a photographer? Yeah, show them some pictures, and they don't even they don't believe when I say, yeah, I took this in my house. So then I show them behind the scenes, and they're like, wow. So that's a great point. A lot of people don't want to show their flaws, but you know, nobody's perfect. So if you see the workflow, all I want everyone to do is to be inspired. You know, I've kind of taken a liking to a lot of moody photos lately, and so creating those, I've seen people tag me on Instagram on inspiration that they got from photos that I've taken, and the only way they were able to recreate them is because they saw. Of course, I put out my official video that is edited, but I also try to go live, and you see everything that it really took for me to make that image. How does the audio sound? Is it bad? I'm trying to. I was on some other audio at first. Okay. Let's see, Infinite. You seem like a regular guy who enjoys taking pictures, understand the importance, inexpensive gear, very relatable. Some of the other creators seem out of touch with the audience. Okay, Infinite, I can respect that. I appreciate that. Okay, let's see. I was starting out my photography journey around when you started uploading more frequently, so I stuck with the channel. The consistency kept me here. Your shoots taught me a lot along the way. I appreciate that, Jordan. That is another. Okay, I just had to check. Yeah, trying to check the audio. That is another point that I was going to drive with starting a YouTube. Consistency is key. Whether one person watch it or half a person watch it. If that half a person keep watching it, where I don't know where half a person that they exist, but you have to keep going. Even when you want to quit, you have to keep going and stay the course. I'm telling you. Alright, let's see. I like the model perspective video. It's good to know what's going on through their head. It helps to know so you can make them more comfortable. Absolutely. I haven't seen a lot of videos where photographers let the model speak their mind. So when I added that piece, I thought it would be very informative for, you know, creatives like everyone who pretty much watch this channel. However, I do have some constructive criticism. Your lives can be a little stale for me. It feels like I'm a little bit removed from the experience because you set us up on the tripod away from you guys. No, the constructive criticism is always good. So that's definitely always something to think about. You know, trying to have dynamic lives, it's kind of tough, especially in a small space. You know, so it's kind of like maybe if I could mount the phone, because I normally go live from my phone, so maybe if I can mount my phone to my actual camera or something like that. So that's something to think about. Appreciate that. I subscribe to you because you are real and don't try to be something you're not. I appreciate that, MPP. You see me more by watching someone else work live, and that's how I learn. Yes, so that's a perfect example of, you know, like a visual learner, where you like, if somebody just told you, then you kind of like, oh, okay, but actually seeing it is something totally different. AJ, it's funny because I didn't even get to read your other comments before I answered the one that you said. So yeah, maybe hand holding closer. I appreciate it, AJ. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So definitely, that's everything that I love to see. Like when you bring the feedback, it's beautiful because first of all, I put myself in this space. I put myself in this eye. So if you can't take constructive criticism, then you probably shouldn't be out here trying to have your content viewed, right? So that's what I expect. If you have some constructive criticism, then definitely leave it in the comments by all means, because it's only gonna make the channel better. And if you feel that way, some other people might feel that way as well. Now, it kind of gets tough with, for example, let's use your example. If I handhold you or mount you to my camera, because when I switch from portrait to landscape, then YouTube kind of doesn't let you change the orientation, so your screen will be kind of going like this. I love watching how hard light in the 30s and 40s were used. Everything nowadays seems to be soft, lit, driven, transparent. That is a great point, because my last official video with Jenna, y'all know I went live with Jenna yesterday, but I made an official video with Jenna that I posted before that, where I only used the Godox V1, and it was hard light because it didn't have anything soft in it. It was just straight light, straight out of the V1. And I like moody shots. It was hard light, so you get those hard shadows, and some people don't like that. So it's interesting to see, because if you don't have soft light, sometimes people are like, man, that light is too hard. Like, what are you doing? Like, you need to put that in the softbox. You need to make it softer. But it's like, you can work with hard light as well, Okay. If I comment on your work and I don't get your feedback, I usually won't comment again. My call. I agree. I can see, because unless now this is how it typically goes for big YouTubers. So with big YouTubers, they normally don't even go to their comment section, because sometimes comments are left that can have you second guessing yourself sometimes. Trust me, I have had some comments in my comment box that you have to go a little bit deeper on YouTube, where they have a section that they blocked the comments from displaying. And so you can go into there and you'll see comments where people may just be ripping you apart. And so I've had some comments like that, to the point where you really start thinking like, man, okay, is this how you really feel? And wow. But you have to separate them, because some people say some things on the internet that they will never say to you in person, right? And so you have to remember that as well. But sometimes they can say some things that are just ridiculous, but might have some information in it that could be useful, but just don't relay the message in a good way. I think I remember that you said you have a D3200. How do you like it? Yeah, Agnetha. So that was one of my first cameras, and I actually just used my D3200 in a video on my channel in 2021 because I wanted to show that you can still get great images with that camera. So it's still a great camera. I won't lie, I haven't used it since that shoot, but I've been creating more content with the Z7 and the D850 as the backup. Text lacks articulation sometimes. Yes, yes, they can have the most, man, the truest statement or piece of advice, but don't know how to articulate it in some cases. But in some cases, they want to be very disrespectful and rude. So you have to take it how it is. But YouTube normally blocks most of that out, so you don't have to worry about it too much. So with the YouTube in 2021, the the consistency and commitment is a big thing, and the reason why I asked you all, why, what was your reason for subscribing? Because a lot of people have different reasons, but when you know your audience, then you can kind of look for certain things, right? Yeah, so transparent. I will say that the going back to a DSLR versus using the eye autofocus and the mirrorless, I will split this into two. Indoors, it is kind of hard because in my studio space, it's kind of tight. So having that eye autofocus just helps me in terms of the distance that I can get from the model. And with the DSLR, I have to have my eye trying to kind of look through and see it because I rarely use the back screen on there, even though it does have the capability. But DSLR in general. Now outdoors, oh, the eye autofocus definitely spoils you, but I will still use a DSLR outdoors because I'm not restricted by space at all. Text lacks tone and emotion unless it's my wife. She has an uncanny ability to convey her current attitude through text. Oh man, that's a great example, right? You gotta cut that grass if it comes through with some certain emojis or certain words. But that is the biggest thing with YouTube. If I had to sum it up, I would definitely say engagement with your audience. I would say using tools like social media platforms to promote yourself because nobody is going to promote you like you. And I would say commitment to starting your channel, which I would throw in consistency underneath. You have to be consistent. If you're not consistent, people won't take your channel seriously. If one of the things that I see a lot that kind of shows inconsistency is You go to somebody's page and on the banner it says weekly videos, right? And you're like, okay, they start off, you see weekly videos. Then you might get to a point where they post a video every 3 months, and you're like, hold on, your banner says weekly videos. Where is the weekly video at? I know I've ran into that a lot. So let's see. We had those lighting. So one thing with tech, what is what is your next purchase as far as your tech goes? A lot of people buy on the fly, but some people don't. Some people actually plan for what they're going to buy. So myself, I don't know if you all know about this site. I'm pretty sure you do. Craigslist, sites like that. Fred Miranda. I promise, I don't know where I've been, but I did not know about Fred Miranda. I have not heard of that site. I'm normally Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, Let Go, all of those places online looking for deals. So one of my subscribers sent me a post for 8600, and it was used, and they wanted like $425, and I was like, wow, I don't need it, but for that price, should I just get it as an early Christmas present for myself, or let's see. Okay, TJ, you plan your purchases. So, did you surely plan that Z9 purchase, or was that a exception to the rule? Because like me, the Z7 I definitely did not plan it. It was a good deal with everything that it came with, and I kind of had to make an exception and then move my plans into place so that other things can cover it. So the client work that I get, I normally take that money to take in cover purchases that I make for this channel, besides the YouTube money that I get for the ads and things like that. And I'm actually working on some merch right now that I'm going to put out eventually. Infinite love my 8600 Pro. Is that your go-to light? Rob works authentic, real world use. I appreciate that, Rob. That real world. I'm telling you, when you go live, that's the thing. That's the thing that some people are afraid about live. When you go live, I can't cover the camera up real quick and say, all right, hold on, let me fix this. You could really see some pressure in those situations. Like, I guess I'm used to working under those conditions. So, some things may seem seamless when you see me working, in the studio space or outside. But, that comes with a lot of photo shoots, because I have done a lot on this channel, as you probably seen. And so after a while, the knowledge that you obtain, it's like secondhand nature. Like, I can't even imagine or begin to think about everything that I know, because I just do it second-handedly. Versus when I was a beginner, some of the things that I had no idea. Like when I first picked up a camera in like 2017, I never touched the aperture. Didn't even know what it was used for. All I knew was ISO and shutter speed. But now, you know, it's 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 full circle that you know a lot more. Sometimes you can't pass up a deal. I agree. That is a deal that I think 400 and 8600, and my subscribers sent it to me because they said that, yeah, I think this is in your general area. So, you know, I found this. I thought I'd just send it to you. So it was on the list since this spring. I held out on making any major gear purchases. Okay. So you sacrificed. I plan on getting a glow wing umbrella, 45 inch. I think that'll be good for family portraits. You know what, MPP? I think that I heard someone say that they had the 80-inch wing. Now I don't know if that's overkill or not, but yeah, I feel like somebody told me they had the 80-inch. 8600 Pro and 8200 Pro, great combo. Yeah, that I agree. Having the extra power just in case you need it, especially if you shoot outdoors. So for me, when I shoot inside, I don't use any more than 75 watts of light output power when I'm indoors, and that's me shooting an f8. So if I only need 75 watts indoors, then outdoors, you know, having those bigger lights when you might need that extra push is where I feel like that 8600 would shine. Also, I feel like I would not have any worries about if the sun is going to be a problem. I know that I have something that if I need to make away, I could definitely do it. Have you ever used sites like Model Management or Model Mayhem to find models? I started accounts but haven't had any luck. I know you mostly use Instagram, but was just curious. So the interesting thing, you all, is that I will probably go live tomorrow. I am actually packing my stuff tonight because I'm going to Miami tomorrow. Now, so far, I believe I have 2 and a possible shoots. One is tomorrow, and it's going to be like 7 or 7:30. Now, this model, hopefully she doesn't flake. It should be a pretty interesting shoot. And then I have one on Saturday that's going to be like 6:30 a.m. when the sun rises, and it's going to be on the beach in Miami. And then the third one is supposed to be at a casino place in the area. And so still trying to kind of work the details, but we'll see if that one even happens. But the reason I say that is because of the way I find the models, which you just pointed out was Instagram. So I use all social media. I haven't used those sites, but I have used sites like, I don't know if you all go into publishing. I wasn't a fan of publishing my work. I just did, you know, portrait shoots, edited Instagram, and that was pretty much it. Create my content for YouTube. But I had like magazines randomly posting my stuff on their page. So I said, you know what? Let me go for a publication, see if I can do something. And I submitted my first time and got published. And so I use that site because it shows the photographer who took their photo, and then also has the model's information. And so I can filter down to people who are in my area. So I normally put Washington, D.C., and then all the models in Washington, D.C. will pop up. Now, one thing I haven't done yet, and I'm not saying that I would not do it with models, but I haven't paid a model to do a photo shoot. I have not done it. I believe I would do it, but I just haven't had to do it. And even in Miami, like this, the one model that I got, like she has a huge following. Maybe like I think she has like 26,000 followers. And you know, when I'm reaching out, I'm like, man, she has a lot of followers, but you miss all of the shots that you do not take. So what did I do? I went in those comments. I liked three photos and put my comment. I was like, hey, I'm going to be in Miami this weekend. Um, if you are down to shoot, let me know. Now, she has like DM me for rates and things like that, but I made it very clear about a collaboration. So, you know, she hit me back. I'm like, okay. And so we started working the details, and I was like, okay, you okay with collabing with this shoot, right? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. I totally understand TFP. I was like, oh, okay. So we worked that out. And it was a great situation to be in. Like I said, I still have to make sure she doesn't flake, because that's the thing that I do not know right now. We have a certain time for tomorrow. Hopefully it goes through. If I go live, y'all know she didn't flake. But to answer your question, yeah, I haven't used those sites, but I have used that modeling site where I published in some magazines. From now to the end of Christmas, it's tough not buying so many things on sale. Had a pair of 8300 Pros for sale. Oh man, yeah, that's pretty tough right there, transparent. That will be hard to not grab. So how do you all normally find your models? I know, and have you paid for models before? One thing that I know about models is that if I have to pay you, a lot of them be wanting like $75 an hour, $100 an hour. If I'm paying you to model for me, I bet not have to worry about telling you how to pose too much. Like a paid model, I feel like has to have a certain level of expectation that I need to hold them to, because that's one of the pieces that goes unnoticed, like when I'm doing behind the scenes photo shoots, maybe in the studio or outside, is that a lot of people that I reach out to are not necessarily models or don't deem themselves to be models on IG. I may think they have some nice pictures, and I'm like, okay, let's do some photo shoots. And they're okay with it. So, part of the job with me doing photo shoots is I have to pose them. And that can be a whole job in itself, I'm telling you. Just like yesterday, me and Jenna was doing the shoot, and you all couldn't see me, but you could see her. But I was showing her how I wanted her to pose and kind of, keep flowing with those things. Okay, Infinite, I shot a lot outside and need the power. Oh, I shoot a lot outside. Yes, I agree with you. I would not say that 8600. Matter of fact, uh, Ryan had his 8600 Pro outside when we were in Ohio, and I think that was the first. Well, I did use SJ Square had an 8600 too. I used his. His was a BM, and then Ryan's was a Pro. But that was the first time I used 600s that weekend, and that power. Yeah, I had my I had my trigger all the way down almost. MP, that really works. I've done the same, and I've gotten great content and exposure like that. Yeah, it's like the perfect thing. What I don't necessarily do is I don't always go for people who have a huge following, because what I've learned is that it does not transition to you at all. It does not. Like, one girl that I shoot, she's just consistent and she's in the area. So if I want to try something, then I know that she's open to shoot. You know, like, easily she might get 2,000 likes on a photo, but does that traffic necessarily come to me? They might come like her picture, but it doesn't really give me follows or them going to my YouTube. Sometimes they'll go to the YouTube, but it's just off the strength of her. So, you know, that type of thing I've kind of neglected. Like, oh, they have a huge following. Let me go to them, because it doesn't necessarily translate all the time. Ryan, you pay all the time. So Ryan, do you pay all the time because you're looking for certain things, or is it hard for you to get models in your area, or are you paying for a model to know what she kind of doing, so it kind of alleviates you from having to pose her and, you know, give her facial expressions and things like that? Rose Flip, I've only found one through a Facebook group. Just did a second shoot with her. Had one I found through Instagram. Cancel on me last minute and haven't heard a peep since from her. Oh, Rose, you speak of the infamous flakes. Where art thou? They are abundantly present in this community. I think I was going to a shoot and had someone flake on me. I was like, man. I'm like, you couldn't even give the decency to at least cancel. You know, you telling me, okay, yeah, I'm on the way to meet you. And I'm like, okay, I'm here. And then no responses. I'm like, wow, I've been flaked on. So, am I using ND filters outside to avoid high-speed sync? So, the ND filters, I have some. I just use some, but I don't necessarily avoid doing high speed sync all of the time, because when I first got into off camera flash, that was kind of my selling point, to be honest. It was like, oh man, you telling me I can go above this shutter speed and not have a problem? Okay, it's just gonna make my workflow a lot easier, that I don't have to worry about the shutter speed now. Give me that 8200, I'm going straight to high speed sync and I don't have any problems, right? But now, sometimes I do use ND filters, and I can't remember the brand, but I have a few of them, and I normally take them and I put them on my 85 millimeter and use them on there. Rich, I need to use my 8600 Pro more. Rich, yes. Use your gear as much as possible, or send it to T to the M to IDD and I will use it for you. I pay when I want to do content and not have to worry about them flaking or expecting pictures. Man, oh man, that is a phenomenal point right there. That is a phenomenal point. Money talks. That is, I hope all of us have heard this term. Money talks. When you throw money in any equation, 9 times out of 10, the person is going to respond. They are going to be there, prompt, because they want to make the money for the shoot that they're going to do. Also, like Ryan said, when you do pay, you owe them nothing in terms of photos, which is a beautiful thing. Now, maybe will you give them one or two or three? They may get lucky and get a photo because you edited it and it's just something that you liked. So you're like, okay, here, you can have this. But not taking demands in terms of, oh yeah, I want these ones. No, it's like you get what I'm going to give you because this is what I wanted to edit. So that is some perks. And if you all don't know, with my models that I shoot, I give them 3 edited photos. And it kind of depends. Sometimes I do like a standard edit, and then very rarely I do a fully retouched. The only time I do fully retouched images, and you all might can notice it when you look at their pictures from mine, is that, a lot of the times they want their pictures back quickly, and I don't have no problem returning their pictures quickly, but it's not going to be fully retouched because fully retouched photos take time, and if I'm doing 3 of them, that's a lot of time right there. So I give them a standard edit, which they appreciate because they just want to hurry up and post anyway. And then when I make my official video, that's when I sit down and fully retouch my images that I put in my video, which take time. And that's a great point for taking people creating YouTubes, is understanding the time that goes behind it. If I do a fully retouched photo, let's say a fully retouched photo takes you, I'm going to say 45 minutes. It can take an hour, hour and a half. Let's just say 45 minutes. The way that I do my behind the scenes, you all know that I let you see a lot of the raw files and I edit a certain amount. Now, if I edited a photo for every straight out of the camera file that I showed you all in my video, which I normally at least show 10 to 15, put that with editing the straight out of camera and then showing you the fully edited version. And we edit 45 minutes for a fully retouched photo. Wow, that's almost 10 hours right there editing photos for the YouTube video already. Let's not count, maybe it took 8 hours to even edit the video. So 8 hours of editing the video, 10 hours of editing photos for the video, 3-4 hours for meeting the model and recording the content. You might have 1 hour of just culling through the photos and video footage and downloading it and backing it up on your hard drives. So understand the time that goes behind making these videos is strenuous, and it takes a lot of time. Yeah, I'm finding that out. One last tech question. Have you thought about using an extension head and fear of equipment fall? Transparent. I don't know, you may have seen it. Ike has called me out on this, and some other YouTubers, but I am the poster child for falling equipment. My 8300 fell so many times. At this point, I don't even know how it was turning on. But I don't use an extension head. It would be nice to have. I would definitely consider it because it would be great. Like tomorrow, if everything goes well with the photo shoot, I will have 3 helpers potentially holding lights for me. And so in that point, I should be a little bit better with not needing, something like an extension if I have someone holding it for me. But of course, they could drop something too. But I don't use them, but definitely something great to have. What I've noticed when my lights have fallen though, is that they never fall directly onto the light itself. Every time my light has fallen, it always hit the softbox first. Hit the softbox and then roll onto the actual light. And I think that's how my lights got saved, because even my 8200 had fallen and it fell like that and the light was perfectly fine. My 8300 did not fall like that because the model tried to catch it. And when she tried to catch it, she tilted the way that it was falling. And instead of it falling on the softbox, she tilted it and hit it, and it made it fall on the actual light. So do I give them printed photos? I do not give them printed photos. I give them digital photos. And if it is TFP, sometimes I put my watermark on there. Kind of like, getting credit sometimes is important. Sometimes, you might feel disrespected if they post your stuff but don't want to give you credit for the stuff. I know some of you all, have you all ran into that? Somebody posts your stuff, don't give you credit. Now, I'm not talking about clients, I'm talking about someone who might be, TFP. You have like, okay, we're going to work this out. That's one thing that I have noticed. Yes. Yes. And we still have, let's see where this is going. I wish I could zoom you all into my screen. You some. I'll probably. Oh, you know what? Next time I will set up my software like that so that I can open up my screen and you all can see that, because we can actually go through some photos and things like that. I don't. I haven't. I've been thinking about printing some pictures just for myself though. I have been thinking about that. I'm going to, let me see if I can pull up this picture really quick. I'm looking at you all's video feed, so I know it probably won't be the best quality, but you all will be able to see the general picture that I am talking about. Who am I looking for? Okay, let me go down. Oh, let me go to this one for you all. This particular shoot is with Jenna. So Jenna is the model that you all seen me with the other day. And yesterday. So you all should be able to see that. You can kind of see the remnants of that photo. This photo, yeah. So you all can see that right there, right? That's actually not too bad. Too bad of a focus on it. So that photo right there is one that I've actually, yeah, it is.
It actually is. And this was one that I was like, oh, this has to be black and white. So this particular photo is one that I want to get printed. Like I love this photo right here. Absolutely one of my favorite photos. And I think I'm going to do a photo sharing one. And you all just seen this one that I just posted. So this photo right here, this photo shoot was from February 2021, and I just put the video up like 5 days ago for it. So this is Jenna. I have printed my images before and loved it. Yes, I just need a dedicated space. So yes, this photo shoot was in February. So I think that's about 9 months ago. And I did this with my D850, but I just edited the video. I have so many videos that I need to edit, you guys, that it is crazy. Okay, now this is another photo that I absolutely love that I want to print. This one right here, this is when I did natural light. Man, I, I want to print this one. So I definitely have photos that I want to print to answer your question. I just need to print them. It would definitely be great. Did you all watch this photo shoot? You know, a lot of people said that you should have used flash and things like that. And the thing is, with this, when I went into my mindset with this photo shoot was that I always use flash. Let me use something. Let me use natural light because all of my videos on my channel to that point was flash. So while my immediate thought with the sun backlighting her like it was, my immediately thought was, man, use flash. But then my second thought was, man, you said that you are not going to use flash. So take this reflector and make it work. And that is exactly what I did. And I absolutely love that photo. Yeah, TJ, that shoot right there, I love that shoot. Gotta get outdoors more. That's one of my things that I'm vowing to do on this upcoming year. So yes, we have covered the main topics. I wanted to make sure I went over the Z9 and if I was going to get it, let everyone know that it does have the Nikon mirrorless on the firmware updates and also touch on the ingredients that I think is important to starting a YouTube channel in 2021 and some of the things that uh, go unnoticed, especially the time that it takes to create videos, the planning process, like someone said, planning creative projects, and that whole portion, just the planning process, takes time before you even think about pressing a button to take a image. So the time is crazy that is involved with this whole process. I appreciate it, transparent. So with that, I am going to log out. This has been a tech talk. Let me know what you all think. I might think about splitting the tech talk into strictly tech and then make another segment that is just strictly engaging with you all. Let me know what you all think about that. You think I should split it, or do you think I should talk about the tech but also answer any questions that you all have as well? All right, good night, XX Visions. Good night, Hassan. Rose Flip. I appreciate it. So we are, if the model doesn't flake, y'all will see me tomorrow going live. It will probably be dark, but we still gonna make it work. T to the M to the IDD. Peace.